Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy History Channel. Tonight, we're traveling far back into the origins of mankind, to a time before history even existed, the Stone Age. This was a time before metal, before writing, before cities. A world where fire was both a weapon and a comfort, and where stone held the key to survival. Families huddled in shelters of hide and bone. Hunters shaped blades from flint and obsidian. And small communities laid the foundations for culture and ideas. Yet even then, people reached beyond survival. They carved figures from ivory, strung beads from shells, and made music with flutes of bird bone. In those small acts, imagination began to take hold. The Stone Age gave us our first art, our first rituals, and even our first technology. This was our first glimpse of what it means to be human. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe, or simply share a thought in the comments below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest. Get comfortable and allow the weight of the day to drift away as we begin our journey into the echoes and innovations of the Stone Age. Let's begin. The Stone Age was the longest era of human history. The Stone Age covers a span of time so immense that almost everything we think of as history sits at its very end. From the first simple tools chipped from rock to the rise of farming, this era stretches across millions of years. Civilizations, empires, kings, and written chronicles are tiny flickers compared to its length. The Stone Age is divided into three broad chapters. The Paleolithic, where people lived as hunters and gatherers; the Mesolithic, when groups adapted to changing climates after the Ice Age; and the Neolithic, when farming and permanent villages appeared. For generation after generation, for tens of thousands of lifetimes, humanity's entire world was stone, wood, fire, and bone. To step into the Stone Age is to realize how small our written past really is, and how deeply our beginnings are rooted in a time when even the simplest invention could change everything. Early humans crafted tools from more than just stone. The term Stone Age makes it sound as though people relied only on rock, but survival demanded far more creativity. People used bone to fashion awls and needles, antler to make sturdy picks, and wood to carve shafts for spears and digging sticks. Plant fibers became cord and rope, twisted and braided with care. Sinew from animals bound stone blades to wooden handles, while resins and tars acted like natural glue. Even bark, shells, and reeds were pressed into service. Together, these materials created a toolkit far richer than the name Stone Age suggests. A single spear might carry the effort of a dozen skills: stone knapping, fire hardening, carving, lashing, and glue making. Each invention built upon the others, showing that early humans were not just surviving, but engineering. Their ingenuity laid the foundation for the technologies that followed, proving that resourcefulness, not just raw strength, was humanity's greatest tool. The first hand axes were astonishingly symmetrical. Among the oldest known tools are Acheulean hand axes, appearing nearly 2 million years ago. These stone tools are striking not only for their function, but for their beauty. Many are shaped into perfect teardrops or ovals, their edges flaked with such precision that they look deliberate, almost artistic. These hand axes were multi-purpose, used for butchering meat, scraping hides, and cutting plants. But their symmetry suggests something deeper. Making one required foresight. The maker had to imagine the final shape and then carefully strike away flakes to reveal it. Some hand axes were made so large or so finely worked that they may not have been practical tools at all, but symbols of skill, status, or identity. They show us that even in the deep past, humans cared about design and form, not just function. The Acheulean hand axe stands as one of humanity's first great achievements, both useful and beautiful. Stone knapping required knowledge of physics. To shape stone into sharp, reliable tools was not a matter of random strikes. It required deep understanding of how stone fractures. Early toolmakers learned to strike at just the right angle, with the right force, and against carefully prepared surfaces to control the outcome. This process, called knapping, relied on the natural geometry of conchoidal fracture, the same physics that makes glass shatter in smooth, curved patterns. By mastering this, ancient people could peel off long, razor-sharp flakes. A skilled napper could create dozens of blades from a single core of flint or obsidian. The knowledge was so specialized that archaeologists today can identify entire cultures by their tool-making style. To watch a stone napper at work, even now, is to see knowledge, rhythm, and focus at play. It is one of the earliest sciences, an understanding of matter, force, and precision that transformed rock into survival. Neanderthals invented composite tools. Neanderthals, often misrepresented as clumsy or unimaginative, were skilled engineers of survival. They created composite tools, weapons, and implements made by combining multiple materials into a single design. A sharp stone point was carefully fitted into a wooden shaft, secured with animal sinew and adhesive made from natural resins. This innovation turned simple stone into deadly hunting weapons capable of piercing the thick hides of large Ice Age animals. Composite tools required planning, experimentation, and cooperation, as each part had to be crafted separately and then assembled. Archaeologists have found clear evidence of these constructions, including stone points still smeared with traces of resin. Far from being simple or brutish, Neanderthals displayed intelligence, adaptability, and technical skill. Their inventions shaped their world, and in many ways mirrored the strategies of early modern humans. The composite tool was a quiet revolution, a symbol of ingenuity born in the Ice Age. Ancient glues were made from tree resin and birch tar. One of the most surprising Stone Age inventions was glue. Long before chemistry labs, people learned to harness sticky substances from the natural world. Tree resins could be heated and softened, then used to fasten stone blades onto wooden shafts. Birch tar was even more remarkable. It required controlled heating of bark in low oxygen conditions, a process similar to modern distillation. This sticky black substance could bond tools with surprising strength and durability. Creating birch tar was no accident. It demanded knowledge of fire, materials, and timing. The ability to produce adhesive on demand shows a level of experimentation and problem-solving that rivals modern invention. With glue, tools became sturdier, weapons more reliable, and the range of possibilities expanded. Something as simple as sticky black pitch reveals the remarkable ingenuity of our ancestors, who looked at trees not only for shelter or fuel, but for solutions to technical problems. People wove fibers thousands of years before farming. Textiles may seem like a late invention, but people were twisting and weaving fibers long before fields of crops appeared. Archaeologists have discovered imprints of woven cloth on clay fragments dating back more than 20,000 years, long before agriculture. Plant fibers, animal hair, and sinew were twisted into threads, then braided or woven into mats, bags, nets, and cords. This technology transformed daily life. Nets allowed for new ways of fishing and hunting. Woven bags could carry gathered plants and tools. Mats provided insulation in shelters. Later, clothing made from spun fibers added comfort and protection. Weaving required patience and dexterity, often passed down through generations as a skill set as important as tool making or firekeeping. Long before cities and farms, people were already mastering the craft of binding fibers together, a quiet innovation that wove itself into the very fabric of human survival. Some of the earliest jewelry was made from eagle talons. Long before gold or silver ornaments, people adorned themselves with what nature offered. One of the most striking examples comes from eagle talons, which were carefully collected, polished, and strung together as jewelry more than 40,000 years ago. Archaeologists have found sets of talons with wear marks that show they were once part of necklaces or bracelets. These objects had no practical function. They were purely symbolic, worn for meaning, beauty, or status. The choice of eagle talons is telling. Eagles were powerful hunters of the sky, and wearing their claws may have been a way to carry their strength, prestige, or spirit. These early ornaments reveal that even in harsh Ice Age landscapes, people expressed identity, belief, and creativity. Jewelry made from eagle talons is among the first known signs that humans sought not just to survive, but to display who they were. The oldest known art comes from cave walls. Some of the oldest surviving artworks on Earth are hidden deep within caves. Tens of thousands of years ago, people painted vivid images of animals, mammoths, bison, horses, lions, in places like Chauvet and Lascaux in France and Altamira in Spain. These paintings were made with natural pigments, like red ochre and black charcoal, applied with brushes made from animal hair or blown onto the walls through hollow bones. The detail is astonishing. Horses gallop with arched necks, bison lower their horns in challenge, lions stalk silently. These caves were more than shelters. They became vast canvases where imagination left its mark. Some images may have been part of rituals, others teaching tools, and some simply expressions of beauty. Whatever their purpose, they endure as windows into a world where art was already central to human life. Proof that creativity reaches back to the very roots of our species. Humans created portable art carved from bone and ivory. Not all Stone Age art was painted on cave walls. People also carved portable objects, sometimes small enough to hold in one hand. Figurines made from mammoth ivory, antler, or bone show humans, animals, and abstract shapes. Among the most famous are the so-called Venus figurines, small statues of women with exaggerated features found across Europe and dating back tens of thousands of years. Their meaning is still debated. Were they fertility symbols, teaching aids, or simply works of expression? Other carvings depict animals in astonishing detail, from crouching lions to running horses, their forms captured with a sculptor's eye. These objects could be carried from camp to camp, traveling across landscapes as people moved. Portable art shows that creativity was not bound to place. It was part of daily life, woven into the fabric of movement and memory. In these carvings, we glimpse the first sculptures of humankind. Early flutes were carved from bird bones. Music is one of the most ancient languages we share, and it stretches back into the Stone Age. Archaeologists have found flutes carved from the hollow wing bones of birds dating back more than 30,000 years. These flutes have carefully placed finger holes, showing deliberate design and knowledge of sound. When replicas are played, they produce clear, haunting notes that echo in caverns just as they once did. Some flutes were even made from the tusks of mammoths, split and hollowed with extraordinary care. These instruments reveal that Stone Age people were not only hunters and builders, but also musicians. Music may have been part of rituals, storytelling, or simple enjoyment around the fire. The fact that people chose to create instruments so long ago shows that creativity and rhythm are as deeply human as tool-making or survival. Even in the harsh Ice Age, people filled the darkness with song. People painted with ochre long before written language. Ochre, a naturally occurring red pigment, is one of humanity's oldest artistic materials. Archaeologists have found evidence of its use stretching back hundreds of thousands of years, long before the invention of writing or farming. People ground ochre into powder and mixed it with fat, water, or saliva to create paint. With this, they decorated cave walls, colored tools, and even rubbed pigment onto skin and hair. At burial sites, ochre was sprinkled over bodies, suggesting a symbolic or ritual role. The bright red color may have symbolized life, blood, or renewal. To use ochre was to create meaning beyond survival, to add color and symbol into a world of stone and fire. Its persistence across continents and cultures shows how deeply humans connected to color. Long before words could describe ideas, red ochre painted them. It is a pigment older than history itself and still speaks through its stains. Caves were decorated with hand stencils across continents. One of the most striking and universal images of Stone Age art is the hand stencil. To create them, people placed a hand against a cave wall and blew pigment around it, leaving a pale silhouette outlined in color. These stencils appear across Europe, Asia, Australia, and the Americas, spanning tens of thousands of years. Some caves hold hundreds of them, scattered across ceilings and walls, layered over one another like a silent gathering of hands. Each stencil is personal, the exact shape and size of a hand long vanished, yet still present. Some belong to adults, others to children. Their meaning is uncertain, perhaps signatures, rituals, or simple marks of belonging. But whatever they meant, they are powerful. To stand in a cave surrounded by hand stencils is to be surrounded by a chorus of presence, a reminder that people reached out to leave themselves in stone. Ancient artists used lamps to light their work. Deep cave paintings could not have been made without light. To illuminate the darkness, Stone Age people crafted simple lamps from hollowed stone, filled them with fat, and set them alight with a wick of moss or fiber. These lamps burned with a steady glow, casting warm light across the walls. In some caves, soot marks remain on the ceilings, silent evidence of fires carried inside. The flicker of flame gave movement to painted animals, making horses seem to gallop and bison to shift in the shadows. These lamps were more than tools. They created atmosphere. They transformed pitch-black caverns into spaces alive with imagery, ritual, and storytelling. Imagine the quiet, the smell of burning fat, the glow of flame, and the slow rhythm of a painter at work. These lamps remind us that even in darkness, humans sought ways to see, to create, and to leave something behind. Prehistoric sculptures encode tiny stone figurines. Beyond paintings, Stone Age people carved small figurines from stone. Some were simple, shaped to fit easily in the hand, while others were detailed and precise. They depicted animals, people, or abstract shapes, and they have been found across vast regions. These figurines were portable art, carried from place to place, often treasured enough to be buried alongside their owners. Some may have been charms, others teaching aids, or objects used in ritual. A carved animal could have represented a spirit, a prayer for hunting success, or a reminder of a powerful creature. The care and skill involved in making them shows that art was not only decoration, but something woven into daily life and belief. These figurines remind us that people thousands of years ago looked at the world around them and felt the urge to hold it in their hands, to shape memory into stone. The famous Venus figures may have had many meanings. The Venus figurines are among the most mysterious artifacts of the Stone Age. These small carvings, often made from ivory, stone, or bone, depict women with exaggerated features, large hips, full breasts, and rounded forms. They appear across Europe and parts of Asia, stretching back tens of thousands of years. scholars have long debated their meaning. Some suggest they were fertility symbols, celebrating motherhood and survival in harsh times. Others think they were teaching tools, charms for hunters, or even self-portraits carved by women themselves. What is certain is that they carried significance far beyond simple decoration. Their repetition across regions suggests shared ideas and values. Holding one is to touch a belief that spanned generations, a belief in the power of the human form and in the cycles of life and survival. They remain among the most iconic and enigmatic creations of the Stone Age. Early hunters made spears from fire-hardened wood. Stone tools were powerful, but wood remained essential. Early hunters shaped long wooden shafts, sharpening their tips and then hardening them in fire. The process involved carefully charring the point and scraping it smooth, producing a tougher, sharper weapon. Such spears have been discovered preserved in ancient bogs, some more than 400,000 years old. Their survival shows how important woodworking was, even without stone points. With these spears, hunters brought down animals far larger than themselves, including horses and deer. The skill to select the right wood, shape it evenly, and harden it just enough without burning through required precision. It was knowledge carried from one generation to the next. These fire-hardened spears remind us that long before the bow and arrow, long before metal, people already wielded carefully engineered weapons. They carried simple shafts of wood, sharpened by fire, that gave them the power to endure. Stone tips made weapons deadlier and more reliable. Attaching a sharpened stone tip to a wooden spear revolutionized hunting. Stone tips could pierce more deeply than fire-hardened wood, making them deadly against large animals. They also added weight to the weapon, improving accuracy and penetration. But the innovation was not just about function. It required careful craftsmanship. Hunters had to shape the stone into a symmetrical point, carve a shaft to fit it, and then bind the pieces together with sinew and resin. The result was a true composite weapon, combining the strengths of stone, wood, and fiber. Archaeological finds show stone tips stained with animal blood, frozen in time from ancient hunts. With these weapons, humans could bring down mammoths, bison, and deer with greater success, feeding larger groups and expanding into new environments. The stone-tipped spear was more than a tool. It was a leap forward in technology, changing the balance between humans and prey. Fire itself was a technology that had to be mastered. It is easy to forget that fire, so central to human life, was once a rare and precious discovery. In the Stone Age, mastering fire was not just a matter of striking sparks. It required the knowledge to find dry tinder, the patience to nurture embers, and the skill to keep flames alive through rain and wind. Archaeologists have found evidence of hearths dating back hundreds of thousands of years, with layers of ash and burned bone marking places where fire was carefully maintained. Fire cooked food, making it safer and easier to digest. It hardened wood, lit the darkness, and kept predators at bay. But it also created community. People gathered around flames to share stories, warmth, and safety. To control fire was to control energy itself. It was humanity's first great invention, a technology not built from stone or wood, but from the very heart of nature. Hearths served as social and technological centers. A hearth was more than a fire pit. In the Stone Age, it was the center of life. Families gathered around it to cook, to share food, to talk, and to work. Archaeological sites show circles of stone hearths surrounded by tools, bones, and ornaments, a map of daily life arranged around flame. Hearths provided steady heat for drying meat, curing hides, and warming shelters. They offered light for tool-making and safety through the night. But they also became centers of memory. Ashes from old fires mixed with new ones, marking years of use in the same place. Some hearths even seem to have been renewed symbolically, with fresh layers of stone or new arrangements. To sit by a Stone Age hearth was to be part of something larger: the community, the traditions, and the flow of knowledge passed from one generation to the next, carried in firelight. People cooked roots and grains before farming. Long before fields of wheat or barley, Stone Age people experimented with cooking wild plants. Archaeologists have discovered charred remains of roots, tubers, and grains in ancient hearths, some tens of thousands of years old. These discoveries show that people understood how to make otherwise tough or bitter foods edible. Cooking broke down fibers, released nutrients, and transformed starchy plants into a more reliable source of energy. Wild barley and oats were sometimes ground into flour, mixed with water, and cooked on hot stones. Roots and tubers were roasted in embers, turning hard, starchy lumps into soft, nourishing food. This innovation expanded diets beyond meat and berries, allowing people to thrive in new environments. Cooking plants may seem simple, but it marks a profound step: the ability to transform the natural world into something more sustaining. It was an early hint of the farming revolution that would one day come. The first bread was baked long before agriculture. Bread feels like the product of farming, but evidence suggests it was being made long before crops were cultivated. Archaeologists studying a site in Jordan uncovered charred remains of flatbread dating back over 14,000 years, thousands of years before the first domesticated cereals. This bread was made from wild grains, gathered by hand, then crushed into flour with stones. Mixed with water and baked on hot rock, it produced a simple flatbread. The process shows remarkable knowledge of ingredients, tools, and technique. Bread represents more than food. It is planning, preparation, and patience. To make bread, people had to gather large amounts of grain, grind it, and bake it in a communal space. The discovery pushes the origins of baking deep into the Stone Age, showing that people were already experimenting with complex foods long before agriculture made grain a staple. Bread began as a Stone Age invention. Ancient mortars and pestles preceded farming by millennia. Grinding tools are often associated with agriculture, but mortars and pestles appear long before the first crops. Stone mortars with smoothed, rounded interiors have been found dating back more than 30,000 years, used to crush wild seeds, nuts, and roots. Pestles shaped from hard stone show clear wear marks from repeated pounding and grinding. These tools transform tough plant foods into digestible meals, unlocking calories that raw plants could not provide. They also show foresight. Grinding was time-consuming, and people chose to invest effort into preparing food for storage or group meals. Some of the oldest grinding stones are so carefully made that they lasted for generations. Their presence in camps and caves reveals that plant food played a far greater role in the Stone Age diet than once thought. The mortar and pestle stand as quiet but powerful inventions, laying the groundwork for farming long before fields appeared. People tamed fire to harden clay figurines. Clay was not only used in pottery after farming, in fact, it was being shaped and fired long before. Archaeologists have found small figurines, some more than 20,000 years old, that were made of clay hardened by fire. These were often animals, carefully molded and then placed into hearths or pits where flames baked them into permanence. Some figurines were deliberately broken, perhaps as part of ritual or symbolism. Others were preserved, lasting tens of millennia. To harden clay was to discover a process that would later revolutionize storage, cooking, and architecture. But even in its earliest use, It revealed imagination, the desire to create figures not from stone or bone, but from earth itself, transformed by fire. These tiny sculptures remind us that experimentation has always been part of human life, and that even in the depths of the Ice Age, people were already shaping Earth with flame. Stone Age people shaped the landscape with fire. Fire was not only for warmth and cooking, it was also used to shape entire environments. Evidence shows that Stone Age groups practiced controlled burning of grasslands and forests to drive animals, encourage new plant growth, and clear paths. This practice, sometimes called fire-stick farming in later traditions, created mosaics of habitat that drew game and made gathering easier. Charcoal layers in soils across continents reveal that people were altering landscapes with flame tens of thousands of years ago. By burning vegetation strategically, they increased yields of berries, tubers, and grazing animals. Fire was humanity's first tool of ecosystem management, long before agriculture. It demonstrates that people were not passive inhabitants of their world, but active shapers of it. The flicker of a torch in the Stone Age was not only survival, it was the beginning of humanity's long role as a force that reshapes the earth. Dogs may have been domesticated before any other animal. Long before cattle, sheep, or horses were tamed, people formed a partnership with wolves that became the dog. Archaeological sites show evidence of domesticated dogs as early as 30,000 years ago, their remains buried alongside humans. This relationship transformed hunting, protection, and companionship. Dogs could track prey, guard camps, and provide warmth during cold nights. In return, humans offered food, care, and shelter. Over generations, wolves that were friendlier, calmer, and more cooperative became dogs, gradually forming a new species bound to us by need and trust. This domestication was not only practical, but emotional. Burials show dogs laid carefully with their owners, sometimes decorated with beads. The bond between humans and dogs began in the Stone Age and continues unbroken today. It was the first great partnership between species, one that reshaped survival, culture, and the very idea of companionship. Wolf-dog partnerships changed hunting forever. The domestication of dogs had a profound impact on how humans hunted. With their speed, stamina, and keen sense of smell, dogs became unmatched partners in tracking prey. They could detect animals long before humans could, follow trails invisible to us, and help drive game into traps or ambushes. This cooperation increased hunting success dramatically, providing more reliable food supplies. Dogs also acted as guards, alerting groups to predators or intruders. Their presence may have even influenced human migration, making it possible to settle in harsher environments with greater security. Archaeological finds show dog remains buried with care, a sign of their value in daily life. The wolf-dog partnership was not just a convenience, it was a revolution in survival strategies. By working together, two species forged a bond that would echo through millennia, changing the course of both their histories forever. Early communities painted their bodies with pigments. Art was not limited to caves and tools, it was also carried on the body. Pigments such as red ochre were used for body painting tens of thousands of years ago. People smeared designs onto skin, hair, and even clothing, creating patterns that may have marked identity, status, or ritual. Some burials show bones stained with pigment, suggesting that decorated skin was part of daily or ceremonial life. Body painting could have been used for ceremonies, hunting rituals, or group identity, much like tattoos or uniforms today. In harsh climates, pigment may also have served practical purposes, like protection against sun or insects. The act of painting the body shows that people already understood the power of appearance, how colors and symbols could transform an individual into something more. In the Stone Age, art was not only on walls, it lived and breathed on the human form itself. beads made from shells were worn as symbols of identity. One of the most enduring forms of Stone Age ornamentation is the bead. People drilled tiny holes into shells, bones, and stones, threading them onto cords to create necklaces, bracelets, and decorations. Some of these beads are more than 100,000 years old, making them among the earliest evidence of symbolic behavior. Beads were not mere decoration. They carried meaning. Wearing them could signify belonging to a group, achievements, or roles within a community. Some beads were made from shells gathered far from the settlement, suggesting long-distance trade or journeys. The effort to shape, polish, and string these ornaments shows that beauty and symbolism were as important as survival. Each bead was both personal and social, a tiny piece of identity worn close to the skin. In the quiet world of the Stone Age, beads spoke silently of who people were and how they wished to be seen. People traveled great distances to trade exotic stones. Trade networks stretched across surprising distances in the Stone Age. Archaeologists have discovered obsidian, a volcanic glass prized for its sharpness, carried hundreds of miles from its source. Other exotic stones, shells, and pigments traveled across mountains, rivers, and plains, passed hand to hand through complex networks. These objects were not only useful but also valuable, marking connections between groups. Trade was more than exchange. It was a way of building relationships, sharing knowledge, and strengthening survival. A community with access to rare materials could make stronger tools or display status through ornaments. The existence of long-distance trade in such early times shows that people were not isolated bands, but part of wider webs of interaction. Even without wheels, writing, or metal, they carried goods across landscapes, linking distant groups together. These journeys reveal the human desire to connect, exchange, and expand horizons, even in prehistory. Obsidian traveled hundreds of miles in ancient networks. Obsidian, the glossy black volcanic glass, was one of the most prized materials of the Stone Age. Its edges could be sharper than modern surgical steel, making it ideal for blades and arrowheads. But obsidian sources were limited, often found only in specific volcanic regions. Archaeologists have discovered obsidian artifacts hundreds of miles from their origin, proof that people carried or traded them across vast distances. In some cases, tools made from a single mountain's obsidian have been found scattered far across entire regions, showing the reach of early networks. To hold such a blade was not just to own a tool, but a piece of a faraway place. Each shard linked communities separated by rivers, mountains, and plains. This long-distance exchange reveals that Stone Age people were not isolated wanderers, but part of sprawling connections, carrying rare treasures by hand, step by step, across the ancient world. Amber was collected and traded long before cities. Amber, fossilized tree resin with its warm golden glow, captivated people long before the rise of towns or markets. In the Stone Age, beads of amber were collected from coastal regions where it washed ashore, often far from where people lived. Some of the earliest ornaments discovered are strings of amber beads, shaped and polished with care. Their beauty had no practical function. They were worn for meaning, status, or perhaps even spiritual belief. Archaeologists have found amber objects far from any natural source, proving that it traveled long distances through trade. For early people, amber may have been more than decoration. Some pieces carried trapped insects or leaves, tiny time capsules that must have seemed magical. The shimmering glow of amber, born of ancient forests and hardened into stone, was among the first precious materials people sought and carried, a symbol of beauty in a hard world. Humans carved intricate patterns into ostrich eggshells. Among the most delicate artifacts of the Stone Age are decorated ostrich eggshells, In Africa, people carved intricate geometric patterns into the shells tens of thousands of years ago. These fragments, some still whole, show carefully etched lines, crosshatches, and spirals. Ostrich eggs were not only containers for food or water, their shells became canvases. Some were used as water flasks, carried across dry landscapes with plugs of grass sealing the tops. Decorating them may have marked ownership, identity, or ritual significance. The designs suggest a symbolic language long before writing, a way of communicating or preserving tradition through pattern. To carve on eggshell was an act of precision. Too much pressure, and the fragile surface would shatter. These artifacts reveal that even the most practical objects could be transformed into art, and that creativity was already embedded in daily survival, carried in the palm of a hand. People used red ochre in burials across the world. Red ochre appears again and again in Stone Age burials. Bodies were sprinkled or painted with the pigment before being laid to rest, turning the soil around them a deep crimson. This practice is found across continents, from Europe to Africa to Asia, stretching back tens of thousands of years. The meaning is unknown, but the consistency suggests it carried profound significance. Red may have symbolized life, blood, or renewal. Perhaps it marked a return to the earth, or a way of guiding the dead into another realm. In some burials, ochre was used heavily, staining bones that remain red even today. Its presence shows that people did not treat death as an ending, but as a passage requiring care, ritual, and symbolism. The use of red ochre is among the earliest evidence of belief, proof that humans carried meaning into the grave as surely as they carried tools. Some graves contain beads, tools, and animal parts. Stone Age graves often hold more than bones. Archaeologists have discovered burials where the dead were accompanied by necklaces, beads, tools, and even animal remains. A child's grave might contain strings of beads, while an adult's burial could hold a carefully crafted weapon or a decorated bone. In some cases, the bones of animals, antlers, tusks, or even entire skulls were placed alongside humans, suggesting symbolic connections between people and the creatures they depended on. These objects were not random. They were chosen, prepared, and placed with intention. Such offerings reveal that people valued memory, identity, and perhaps even the hope of an afterlife. To bury tools and ornaments with the dead was to give them meaning beyond daily use. It shows that life in the Stone Age was not only practical survival, but also emotional, symbolic, and deeply human in its care for the departed. Ancient burials reveal care for the dead. In many Stone Age burials, the positioning of bodies shows that death was not treated carelessly. Some were laid in curled, fetal-like poses, as if returning to the position of birth. Others were arranged with care, their arms folded or their heads propped with stones. Graves were sometimes lined with stone slabs or dug into special pits. The act of burial itself required effort, especially in frozen or rocky ground, and suggests a sense of respect for the dead. Some graves show signs of repeated visits, disturbed layers of soil, additions of pigment or ornaments, implying that the living returned to honor those who had passed. These practices reveal that memory and ritual were already part of life tens of thousands of years ago. Caring for the dead marks a profound threshold. It shows that people recognized the weight of loss and sought to preserve meaning beyond death. The first known cemeteries date back tens of thousands of years. Not all burials were isolated. Some were grouped together in what may be the first cemeteries. Sites like Sungir in Russia and Kafse in Israel contain multiple burials in close proximity, sometimes with elaborate grave goods and pigments. These groupings suggest that certain places were chosen again and again for burial, creating spaces of memory and community. A cemetery is more than a practical solution. It is a statement about belonging, that the dead remain tied to the land and to one another. In some cases, children and adults were buried side by side, reflecting family ties. Others show evidence of ritual, with shared objects placed among multiple graves. The existence of cemeteries so early in history shows that people were already thinking collectively about death, identity, and place. They created not just shelters for the living, but sacred spaces for the dead, binding community across generations. Some Stone Age skulls show signs of trepanation. One of the most astonishing discoveries in Stone Age archaeology is trepanation, the deliberate drilling or scraping of holes into the human skull. Skulls dating back thousands of years show clear evidence of this practice, with smooth edges that indicate healing. This means that many people survived the procedure. The reasons remain debated. It may have been used to treat head injuries, relieve pressure, or even serve as a spiritual or ritual act. Performing trepanation required skill, patience, and knowledge of anatomy, as mistakes could easily be fatal. The survival of patients shows that these early surgeons had remarkable control. Some skulls even show multiple trepanations on the same individual, suggesting repeated treatments. Trepanation is one of the earliest forms of surgery in human history, proof that Stone Age people were not only skilled hunters and artists, but also experimental healers willing to push the boundaries of Kra. Knowledge. People survived brain surgery long before writing. The survival of trepanation patients is clear in the bone itself. Around the holes cut into skulls, new bone growth forms, a sign of healing over weeks, months, or even years. This proves that the surgeries were not always fatal and that communities cared for individuals during their recovery. Imagine the challenge. No antiseptics, no anesthesia, only stone tools and firelight. Yet somehow, people survived. Some patients even lived long enough to undergo the procedure more than once. This survival suggests that Stone Age groups had not only the technical skill to perform surgery, but also the social structures to nurse patients back to health. It reflects empathy, patience, and care, qualities as vital as stone blades or fire. These ancient survivors of brain surgery stand as remarkable evidence that humanity's pursuit of healing and resilience stretches deep into prehistory, long before writing ever recorded it. Shell middens reveal ancient diets and settlements. Shell middens, massive heaps of discarded shells, are among the most revealing archaeological sites of the Stone Age. Found along coasts and rivers, these mounds of oyster, clam, and mussel shells often rise several meters high and stretch for hundreds of meters. They are the remains of countless meals, accumulated over centuries. Within them, archaeologists find tools, bones, and traces of daily life, showing that these were not just garbage piles but long-term settlements. The layers preserve a record of diet, climate, and environment, offering insights into how people adapted to coastal living. Shell middens show that seafood was not occasional but central to survival for many groups. They also demonstrate planning, as shellfish gathering was often seasonal and communal. These great mounds are silent monuments to meals shared and lives lived, revealing that the rhythm of the tides shaped human communities thousands of years ago. People ate fish and shellfish far earlier than believed. For many years, archaeologists assumed that Stone Age diets focused mostly on big game like mammoths and bison. But discoveries of fish bones, shell middens, and fishing tools have revealed a very different story. People were eating fish and shellfish far earlier than once thought, stretching back tens of thousands of years. This included not only small coastal shellfish, but also freshwater fish caught with hooks, spears, and nets. Fish provided protein and nutrients that supported brain growth, perhaps influencing the development of human intelligence. Shellfish, easy to gather and abundant, offered reliable food even when hunting failed. Some sites suggest large-scale feasts of shellfish, with thousands of shells discarded in single layers. The use of rivers, lakes, and coasts shows adaptability and ingenuity. The Stone Age was not just the age of mammoth hunters, it was also the age of fishers and gatherers, tied to water as much as land. Early hunters brought down mammoths with strategy and tools. Mammoths were among the largest and most dangerous animals ever hunted by humans. Bringing one down required more than strength. It required strategy, cooperation, and technology. Evidence shows that hunters used coordinated drives, herding mammoths into bogs, ravines, or trap areas where they could be overwhelmed. Spears tipped with stone points were hurled in groups, piercing thick hides. Sometimes fire and noise were used to drive herds into positions of vulnerability. The remains of mammoths surrounded by clusters of stone tools show the aftermath of such hunts, immense undertakings that could feed entire communities for weeks. Every part of the animal was used: meat for food, hides for shelter, bones and tusks for tools and building material. Hunting mammoths was dangerous, but success meant survival. These hunts reveal the ingenuity and courage of Stone Age people, whose cooperation allowed them to face giants of the Ice Age. Cave lions were among the apex predators faced by humans. Alongside mammoths and bison, Stone Age people lived with cave lions, one of the largest big cats ever to exist. These lions were larger than modern African lions, with males possibly lacking manes, giving them a sleek, formidable appearance. Cave lions stalked the same prey as humans, creating direct competition. Cave paintings show them in detail, sometimes portrayed in groups, suggesting that people observed them closely. Archaeological evidence even hints at ritual connections, with lion bones arranged in deliberate patterns. Facing such predators required vigilance and courage. A lion could threaten a camp or snatch prey before people could claim it. Yet these animals also inspired awe, becoming part of stories, rituals, and art. To live in the Stone Age was to share the world with cave lions, powerful hunters whose presence shaped not only survival strategies, but also imagination and respect for the wild. Woolly rhinoceroses roamed beside early people. During the Stone Age, vast plains of Eurasia were home to woolly rhinoceroses, massive animals covered in thick fur, with long, curved horns jutting from their snouts. These creatures grazed on grasses and shrubs, enduring Ice Age cold with their heavy coats. They were formidable, dangerous animals, and evidence suggests that humans sometimes hunted them, though at great risk. Cave paintings depict woolly rhinos in vivid detail, showing their distinctive horns and massive bulk. The fact that people chose to paint them indicates the impression they made on human life. Their bones have been found in association with stone tools, suggesting encounters that ended in hunts or conflicts. Like mammoths, they offered meat, hides, and materials, but they also represented danger. To walk the Stone Age steppe was to walk among giants, and the woolly rhinoceros was one of the most awe-inspiring and feared of them all. Humans shared the Ice Age world with giant deer. Among the striking animals of the Stone Age was the giant deer, often called the Irish elk, though it ranged far beyond Ireland. These enormous creatures carried antlers spanning up to 12 feet across, making them some of the largest deer ever to live. They grazed on open plains and grasslands, sharing the world with mammoths, rhinos, and bison. For humans, giant deer were both a source of food and a symbol of awe. Cave art depicts them with careful attention to their immense antlers. Hunting them must have been difficult, as their size and speed made them formidable, but their meat and hides were invaluable. The image of a human hunter standing beneath the towering antlers of a giant deer captures the scale of life in the Ice Age, a world where people lived among animals that seemed almost mythic in their size and presence. Ancient humans painted animals they hunted and feared. Cave art reveals not only animals admired from afar, but also those hunted for survival or feared as predators. Bison, mammoths, horses, and deer dominate many paintings, often drawn with remarkable accuracy. Lions, rhinos, and bears also appear, animals that posed threats as well as inspiration. These images may have been part of rituals, created to ensure success in the hunt or to show respect for powerful creatures. Some paintings show animals wounded by spears, suggesting teaching or symbolic intent. Others depict herds in motion, capturing the rhythms of life on the plains. These paintings remind us that Stone Age people lived in constant relationship with the animals around them, dependent on some, threatened by others, inspired by all. The art was not only decoration, but an expression of connection, awe, and understanding. A dialogue in pigment between humans and the wild world they inhabited. Some cave art depicts animals now extinct. Among the most haunting details of Stone Age art is the presence of animals that no longer exist. Cave walls show woolly mammoths, woolly rhinos, cave lions, and giant deer, creatures that have since vanished from the earth. These images are not only art, they are records of lost worlds, snapshots of ecosystems that disappeared thousands of years ago. For archaeologists, they provide rare glimpses into species otherwise known only from bones. For us, they are windows into the imagination of people who lived beside these animals, watched their movements, and chose to capture them in pigment. To stand before a painting of an extinct creature is to feel time collapse. Both the artist and the animal are gone, but their meeting endures on stone. These depictions remind us that art can preserve memory across ages, carrying the presence of the vanished into the present. People invented fishing hooks from bone. Fishing became a vital part of Stone Age life, and one of the most ingenious inventions was the fishhook. Made from carved bone, antler, or shell, these hooks show remarkable craftsmanship, with carefully shaped barbs designed to catch and hold. Some are more than 20,000 years old, proving that fishing technology was well developed long before farming. With hooks, people could catch fish in rivers, lakes, and seas, expanding their diets and ensuring food security. Hooks also demonstrate planning, making them required skill, patience, and understanding of fish behavior. The presence of hooks alongside weights and net fragments suggests entire fishing systems, not just chance catches. Fishing transformed survival, opening new sources of nutrition that supported larger groups. The humble bone hook is a reminder that small inventions can change the course of history, feeding minds and bodies in the long march of human development. Nets and baskets were woven in the Mesolithic. During the Mesolithic, the middle phase of the Stone Age, people developed new techniques for weaving plant fibers into nets and baskets. Impressions left in clay fragments reveal the patterns of woven fibers dating back thousands of years. Nets allowed for efficient fishing and small game hunting, while baskets transformed gathering, making it possible to carry larger amounts of food and materials. These woven objects rarely survive, but the traces they left show the importance of fiber technology. The creation of nets and baskets reflects patience and skill, as well as knowledge of local plants. It also marks a shift toward new strategies of survival, with more reliance on stored food and organized group activity. Nets and baskets may seem humble compared to stone tools or cave art, but they reveal ingenuity, just as profound, quiet revolutions that shaped the daily lives of Stone Age communities. Ancient rafts and canoes carried people across waters. The Stone Age was not confined to land. Evidence shows that people built simple rafts and dugout canoes, allowing them to cross rivers, lakes, and even stretches of sea. Some of the oldest watercraft discovered are dugouts carved from single tree trunks, shaped and hollowed with fire and stone tools. These vessels carried people and goods, enabling fishing, trade, and exploration. Reaching islands required planning, cooperation, and navigation skills, proving that Stone Age groups were far from primitive wanderers. They were seafarers, willing to risk open water to find new lands. The spread of humans to Australia more than 40,000 years ago could only have been achieved with boats, making these early craft among the most important technologies in history. Each raft or canoe was more than wood and effort. It was a bridge to new worlds, expanding the horizons of humanity one crossing at a time. Stone Age people reached remote islands. The Stone Age was not confined to the safety of the mainland. Archaeological evidence shows that people were reaching remote islands tens of thousands of years ago, well before the invention of sails or metal tools. The very act of reaching these islands required planning, skill, and courage. Stone Age people would have built rafts or dug out canoes, loaded them with food, fire, and tools, and pushed off into the unknown. Once there, they adapted quickly to unfamiliar environments, hunting new animals, gathering shellfish, and making tools from whatever local stone was available. Some of these journeys were short crossings, but others stretched across open waters that demanded real navigation skills. These voyages reveal that exploration was not a later invention of kings and empires. It was already allied in the Stone Age. Even then, humans were drawn to new horizons, carried forward by ingenuity and the courage to cross the sea. Early mariners crossed to Australia over water. One of the greatest feats of Stone Age seafaring was the colonization of Australia. More than 40,000 years ago, people traveled across open seas to reach this vast continent, bringing with them tools, fire, and knowledge. Australia was never connected to Asia by land, which means these journeys required real watercraft and navigation. Groups may have built sturdy rafts or canoes from wood and plant fibers, lashing them together with cordage. They would have needed to plan supplies, track currents, and perhaps even read the stars. Once they arrived, they adapted to entirely new landscapes filled with giant kangaroos, wombats, and enormous flightless birds. This migration shows that even in the deep Stone Age, humans were not confined by geography. They were explorers, capable of crossing seas and transforming new environments into home. The crossing to Australia stands as one of the earliest and boldest chapters in humanity's journey. The first colonization of the Americas happened in the Stone Age. The Americas were the last great continents to be settled by humans during the Stone Age. Evidence suggests that people crossed from Siberia into Alaska more than 15,000 years ago, when lower sea levels exposed the Bering Land Bridge. But even this land bridge required extraordinary endurance. Vast, icy plains stretching hundreds of miles, populated by mammoths, bison, and wolves. Other theories propose that some groups may have hugged the Pacific coast in boats, following shorelines rich with fish and shellfish. However they came, the first Americans carried Stone Age tools, fire, and traditions into a new world. They spread rapidly from Arctic tundras to tropical forests, adapting with astonishing speed. Within a few thousand years, humans lived from the tip of South America to the frozen north. The colonization of the Americas was a Stone Age epic, a story of migration, adaptation, and relentless human curiosity. Humans adapted to Arctic environments with furs and tools. The Ice Age forced humans into some of the harshest conditions imaginable. In the frozen Arctic, survival depended on ingenuity. People hunted reindeer, mammoths, and seals, animals that provided both food and vital materials. Skins were scraped, softened, and sewn into warm clothing, layered against bitter winds. Bone and antler were carved into needles, awls, and spear points, while snow and ice themselves became building materials for temporary shelters. Fires burned in carefully protected hearths, fueled by bone and fat when wood was scarce. Hunting strategies had to account for animals in migration, requiring seasonal camps and constant movement. Archaeological sites show that humans not only survived in Arctic environments, but thrived, developing cultures deeply connected to ice and snow. These adaptations prove that even without metal or wheels, humans were capable of extraordinary resilience. The Arctic was not a barrier, it was a challenge that people overcame with ingenuity. Sewing needles made of bone are among the oldest tools. Among the most remarkable Stone Age inventions are sewing needles carved from bone. Some date back more than 30,000 years and are astonishingly delicate, with tiny eyes drilled through their tips. These needles transformed survival, allowing people to stitch hides together into fitted clothing. With them, humans could fashion coats, leggings, boots, and even gloves, creating insulation far beyond what loose hides could offer. Sewing meant that people could endure colder climates, push into harsher environments, and stay warm while traveling. The skill of making needles also reveals dexterity and precision, as carving bone into such fine tools required patience and steady hands. Many needles are so perfectly shaped that they rival modern ones. They remind us that innovation does not always come in grand leaps. Sometimes it is a small, humble tool, no bigger than a finger, but opens entire new worlds of possibility. Clothing transformed survival in harsh climates. Before tailored clothing, people relied on draped hides for warmth. But with the invention of sewing, Stone Age communities could create garments fitted to the human body, allowing for movement and greater insulation. Clothing became one of the most transformative technologies of the age. It turned icy plains into habitable lands and enabled migration into Arctic regions where unprotected humans would not survive. Clothing also became a canvas for identity, decorated with beads, fringes, or pigments to show status or belonging. Some burials reveal individuals adorned with stitched garments covered in ornaments, proof that clothing held symbolic meaning as well as practical value. The ability to dress for survival was as vital as fire or tools. With stitched clothing, people wrapped themselves not only in hides but in ingenuity, proof that adaptation was as much about invention as it was about endurance. Footprints preserved in mud reveal family journeys. In some places, Stone Age people left behind traces more intimate than tools or bones. Footprints, preserved in mud, ash, or clay. These fossilized tracks capture moments in time tens of thousands of years old. One site in Tanzania shows a group walking together across wet ground, adults and children side by side. In New Mexico, a long trail of prints reveals individuals carrying loads, pausing and continuing on, a frozen record of a journey. These tracks are astonishing because they are not artifacts, but direct evidence of movement, preserved like photographs in stone. They show gait, speed, even pauses and stumbles. Some prints are so detailed that you can see the toes, arches, and slips in the mud. These footprints remind us that the Stone Age was not only tools and art, but real people moving through landscapes, families, children, and groups, leaving their marks step by step. Some tracks show children playing beside adults. Footprints often reveal more than simple journeys. At some sites, the tracks of children show signs of play, small feet darting back and forth, circling or overlapping adult paths. In one famous discovery in France, children's prints alongside torch marks suggest they explored caves together, running, pausing, and perhaps even laughing in the dark. These tracks capture joy, curiosity, and the daily rhythm of family life in the Stone Age. They remind us that children were part of every community, learning and exploring alongside adults. Archaeological sites are filled with tools and weapons, but footprints tell another story. That people laughed, played, and lived as families, just as we do today. The survival of such fleeting evidence is rare, but when found, it bridges the gulf of time. Across tens of thousands of years, children's playful steps still ripple with life, reminding us of the humanity we all share. People left handprints in caves for millennia. Beyond paintings of animals, caves around the world are marked by human hands. People pressed their palms against stone walls and blew pigment around them, leaving behind negative handprints. These images appear from Europe to Asia, Africa to the Americas, spanning tens of thousands of years. Some caves hold hundreds of them, clustered like silent gatherings. Each hand is unique, personal, and enduring, the shape of an individual who lived long ago. Some belong to adults, others to children, and some may even have been repeated as rituals across generations. Their purpose remains a mystery. Were they signatures, rites of passage, or spiritual symbols? Whatever their meaning, they are hauntingly direct. To stand before them is to meet the outline of another human being, unchanged by time, the hand still reaching out across millennia, preserved in stone and pigment. Ancient footprints in Britain are nearly 1 million years old. On the coast of Britain, shifting tides once revealed a discovery almost beyond belief: human footprints nearly 1 million years old. Preserved in ancient mud, these tracks belong to a small group: men, women, and children, walking along a river estuary. The impressions were fragile, lasting only days once exposed, but they were documented before the sea erased them again. These prints predate modern humans, likely belonging to an earlier species of hominin living in northern Europe during a warmer interglacial period. They stand as some of the oldest footprints ever found outside Africa. To imagine a family walking across a mudflat nearly 1 million years ago is to stretch time itself. These footprints are not artifacts made by tools or pigments, but direct evidence of life, as immediate and personal as any step we take today, linking us to ancestors almost unimaginably distant. Stone Age campsites preserve hearths and post holes. Archaeological sites sometimes preserve entire Stone Age camps, complete with hearths, post holes, and scattered tools. These traces reveal how people arranged their lives. Hearths marked the center of daily activity, where meals were cooked and warmth was shared. Post holes show where wooden supports once stood, holding up shelters of hide, bark, or bone. Around them, stone flakes, animal bones, and ornaments mark the remains of tasks: butchering, tool-making, or weaving. Some camps were seasonal, set up near rivers during salmon runs or along plains during migrations of game. Others were longer-term, used year after year, building up layers of ash and debris. Each site is like a snapshot of a community, frozen in soil and stone. These camps remind us that Stone Age life was not aimless wandering. It was organized, social, and patterned, centered around hearths and homes that anchored people in their landscapes. Temporary huts were built from mammoth bones. In the cold expanses of Ice Age Europe, some groups built remarkable shelters from the bones of mammoths. Circular huts made of tusks, skulls, and massive bones were arranged carefully and covered with hides to keep out the wind. Some were decorated with carved bones or painted with pigments, turning them into more than simple shelters. Inside, hearths glowed and families gathered, protected by the very animals they once hunted. These structures reveal both ingenuity and respect. Turning bones into architecture required planning and cooperation. Archaeologists have found entire villages of mammoth bone huts, showing that people could build stable, long-lasting dwellings in even the harshest climates. To sit inside such a hut was to live surrounded by the memory of the hunt, sheltered by the remains of Ice Age giants. These bone houses are among the most extraordinary examples of survival architecture in the ancient world. Some settlements used reindeer antlers as building frames. Not all Stone Age shelters were built from mammoth bones. In regions where reindeer were abundant, people collected antlers and used them as building materials. Antlers, lightweight but strong, could be lashed together to form frames for huts, later covered with hides or bark. The use of antlers shows remarkable flexibility, adapting architecture to the animals and materials of the environment. Archaeological evidence suggests that these structures were both practical and symbolic. Reindeer were central to survival, providing meat, hides, and tools, and now their antlers sheltered the living as well. This kind of resourcefulness highlights the creativity of Stone Age people, who saw potential in every part of the animals they hunted. To build a home from antlers was to turn the wilderness itself into a source of refuge, blending survival with ingenuity in ways that continue to astonish archaeologists today. People dug storage pits to keep food safe. Food security was as important in the Stone Age as it is now. To preserve supplies, people dug storage pits into the ground, sometimes lining them with stone, clay, or grass to keep moisture out. These pits could store nuts, dried meat, or roots, protecting them from decay and animals. In colder climates, pits acted like natural refrigerators, keeping food frozen through the winter. In warmer regions, some were sealed with clay or covered with flat stones to maintain cool, dry conditions. Storage pits mark an important step towards stability, the ability to save food for lean times rather than living only from day to day. They also suggest planning and cooperation, as maintaining shared stores required trust within a community. These humble pits, carved into earth, reveal foresight and strategy, the quiet beginnings of a mindset that would one day lead to farming and permanent settlements. Early calendars were carved into bone and stone. Among the most fascinating Stone Age artifacts are bones and stones, etched with sequences of notches. Some of these markings appear to track lunar cycles, suggesting they functioned as early calendars. Dating back more than 20,000 years, these objects show that people were paying close attention to time, not just the passing of days, but patterns of the moon and seasons. Such knowledge would have been invaluable, helping communities anticipate animal migrations, plant growth, and weather changes. The ability to record and track cycles represents abstract thought, moving beyond immediate survival into long-term planning. These early calendars may have been teaching tools, ritual objects, or simple memory aids, but they reveal a striking truth. Humans were already measuring the flow of time tens of thousands of years before writing. Each notch carved into bone was a step toward calendars, clocks, and the concept of history itself. Moon phases may have been tracked in ancient notches. Several Stone Age artifacts bear series of carefully carved notches that align with the phases of the moon. Some scholars believe these objects represent lunar calendars, capable of tracking the roughly 29-day cycle from new moon to full. Such tracking would have allowed people to predict tides, migration patterns, or seasonal changes tied to the moon's rhythm. The markings may have served as communal records, shared knowledge passed among groups to guide hunting or ritual. This ability to link notches on bone to celestial cycles demonstrates abstract thought and symbolic understanding, a leap from counting objects to measuring time itself. To hold one of these notched bones is to glimpse an early form of astronomy, a first step toward humanity's long tradition of gazing upward and finding meaning in the sky. These artifacts prove that even in the Stone Age, people sought order in the heavens above. Stone Age people watched the stars for patterns. Even without written records, it is clear that Stone Age people observed the night sky. Megalithic sites, rock carvings, and alignments of stones suggest deliberate attention to celestial patterns. Stars and constellations may have been used to mark seasons, guide journeys, or inspire stories. Watching the heavens was not only practical, but symbolic, a way of placing human life within a larger cosmos. Some caves feature dots and shapes that may represent constellations, the earliest attempts to map the stars. To track the movements of celestial bodies required patience and memory, watching over years and passing knowledge down through generations. The practice shows that astronomy is not a modern science, but an ancient human instinct. Stone Age people looked up, saw order in the sky, and began weaving it into their survival and their imagination. From these first observations grew the long history of human stargazing. Some megaliths may have been early observatories. Large stone monuments built in the late Stone Age suggest that people were not only watching the skies, but also marking them with architecture. Some megaliths, such as stone circles and alignments, appear to correspond with solstices or lunar events. At certain times of year, sunlight or moonlight passes directly through gaps between stones, illuminating central points. These alignments suggest intentional design, possibly for tracking seasons, planning agriculture, or holding rituals tied to celestial cycles. Such monuments required immense labor, cooperation, and foresight, far beyond the needs of daily survival. They reveal a community invested in time, order, and meaning. If these structures were observatories, they stand among the first scientific instruments ever built, giant calendars of stone. To gather at a circle and watch the sunrise in perfect alignment would have been to witness not just a new day, but humanity's growing mastery of time. Göbekli Tepe was built long before cities. In modern-day Turkey stands one of the most astonishing discoveries of prehistory, Göbekli Tepe. Built more than 11,000 years ago, this site predates agriculture, pottery, and cities, yet it is monumental in scale. Massive stone pillars, some weighing tons, were arranged in circular enclosures, carved with images of animals and abstract symbols. What is extraordinary is that hunter-gatherers, people without farms or permanent villages, built it. This challenges long-held ideas that agriculture had to come first before monumental architecture. Göbekli Tepe suggests the opposite, that gathering for ritual and belief may have driven people to organize, build, and eventually settle. The site reveals that imagination and cooperation could produce works of staggering complexity, even without metal or wheels. It is one of the greatest puzzles of archaeology, a temple at the dawn of human history, reshaping everything we thought we knew about the Stone Age. Monumental pillars were carved with animal reliefs. The pillars of Göbekli Tepe are not bare stone. They are covered in detailed relief carvings of animals, lions, snakes, vultures, wild boars, and foxes. These images are vivid, sometimes stacked in layers, sometimes arranged in deliberate sequences. The carvings suggest stories, myths, or symbols now lost to us, but clearly important to the people who made them. To carve such figures into stone required immense effort, precision, and artistic vision. These were not simple decorations, but part of a symbolic system that bound communities together. The reliefs reveal that art in the Stone Age was not confined to caves or figurines. It was monumental, public, and shared. Standing among the pillars surrounded by carved animals must have felt like stepping into a world where humans and creatures intertwined. These carvings remain among the oldest surviving monumental artworks on Earth, testimony to belief and imagination in the Stone Age. The first temples preceded agriculture. When we think of temples, we often imagine them rising in cities built by farmers and kings. But astonishingly, the very first temples came before farming itself. At sites like Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey, hunter-gatherers built enormous ritual enclosures more than 11,000 years ago. long before the domestication of wheat or livestock. These structures, made of towering carved pillars, show that spiritual or communal gathering may have been a driving force in human organization. Instead of agriculture leading to temples, temples may have led to agriculture, with people gathering for ritual, staying longer, and gradually learning to tame plants and animals nearby. This flips the story of civilization on its head, showing that imagination, ritual, and belief were just as powerful as survival needs in shaping history. The world's first temples remind us that community and meaning were as essential as food itself. People gathered for feasts at sacred sites. Archaeological evidence suggests that Stone Age people did not just build sacred places, they traveled to them for feasts. Bones of wild animals, large cooking pits, and discarded tools have been found around ritual sites like Göbekli Tepe, pointing to massive gatherings. People may have traveled miles with food, drink, and offerings, coming together to share in rituals and celebrations. These feasts were more than meals. They were moments of bonding, exchange, and identity. Imagine the glow of fire pits, groups roasting meat, sharing stories, and perhaps singing as carvings of animals loomed in the background. Such gatherings helped bind scattered groups into larger networks, creating alliances that might last across seasons. These early feasts show that celebration is not a modern invention. Even in the Stone Age, people found joy in gathering, eating, and marking special moments together, building community with fire, food, and song. The origins of storytelling reach back to the Stone Age. Storytelling is older than writing, older than cities, older even than farming. Around fires, Stone Age people must have shared tales of hunts, spirits, ancestors, and dreams. Archaeologists cannot dig up spoken stories, but clues remain in cave paintings, carvings, and ritual artifacts. A sequence of animal images, a handprint, or a carved figurine may have sparked explanations passed from one generation to the next. Stories helped teach children about dangers and traditions and gave meaning to the world around them. They may have explained the stars, the animals, or the mysteries of death and birth. Storytelling bound groups together, preserving knowledge without the need for writing. To imagine the first tales is to picture flickering firelight, shadows moving on stone walls, and voices rising in rhythm. The Stone Age was the birthplace of stories, a tradition that has carried human imagination through every age since. Cave art may have served as teaching tools. The vivid animal paintings in caves like Lascaux or Chauvet may have been more than decoration or ritual. Some scholars believe they were teaching tools. The way animals are drawn in motion, heads lowered, legs bent, or spears painted striking them, may have been lessons for young hunters. A painted wall could serve as a classroom where elders explained the behavior of bison or the dangers of rhinos. Others may have shown tracking signs, teaching how to recognize footprints and patterns. In this way, cave art was not just artistic expression, but practical knowledge, encoded in images. Teaching through pictures gave hunters and gatherers a way to pass down skills across generations. Standing in a painted cave, you can almost imagine voices echoing as someone explained, "This is how they move. This is how they fall." Stone Age walls may have been the first blackboards. Some paintings show human-animal hybrids. Among the most mysterious images of the Stone Age are figures that seem half human, half animal. Cave paintings and carvings reveal beings with human bodies, but the heads or features of lions, birds, or deer. These hybrid forms may represent shamans in trance, imagining themselves merging with animal spirits. They could also reflect myths or rituals now lost, where humans blurred the boundary between themselves and the wild creatures they depended on. The famous Lion Man figurine from Germany, carved more than 30,000 years ago, shows a human with the head of a great cat. Such figures suggest a world where imagination was boundless, and where people saw themselves not as separate from nature, but deeply entangled with it. These hybrids may have been the first gods, spirits, or heroes, born in the minds of people who dreamed of transformation and connection with the living world. People imagined mythical creatures tens of thousands of years ago. Long before dragons, griffins, or unicorns appeared in written myths, Stone Age people were already imagining beings that never existed. Human-animal hybrids, fantastical carvings, and symbolic figures showed that imagination reached beyond the real. Some images may represent dreams, visions, or ritual hallucinations, given form in pigment and stone. The creation of mythical beings reveals the birth of abstract thought, the ability to picture something that does not exist and share it with others. These creatures may have been protectors, teachers, or symbols of power, carrying meaning that we can only guess at today. They prove that creativity and invention are not recent traits, but fundamental to humanity. To imagine a creature of spirit and flesh, half real and half imagined, is to step into the very beginnings of myth, proof that the roots of fantasy stretch back tens of thousands of years. Ritual masks were carved from stone. In some Stone Age sites, archaeologists have uncovered masks carved from stone, with hollowed eyes and stylized features. These masks are among the earliest evidence of ritual performance. Worn during ceremonies, they may have transformed the wearer into an ancestor, an animal spirit, or a supernatural being. Masks served as bridges between the human and the spiritual, allowing participants to step outside themselves. Their creation required both skill and imagination, shaping stone into a face that could inspire awe or fear. Masks may have been used in dances, funerals, or rites of passage, with firelight making their features flicker and shift. To wear a mask was to take on another identity, to move in both the world of people and the world of spirits. These ancient masks remind us that ritual performance and transformation have been part of human culture since its earliest days. Shamanic figures appear in prehistoric art. Among the many images of animals in Stone Age caves, some show figures that appear shamanic, human forms dressed in animal skins, antlers, or feathers. These figures may represent spiritual leaders, healers, or mediators between the living and the unseen. In societies without written language, shamans carried knowledge of plants, healing, and rituals, guiding communities through birth, death, and uncertainty. The art shows that these roles were not hidden but celebrated, placed alongside mammoths and lions as vital parts of existence. Some depictions show dancing or altered states, suggesting trance rituals where shamans imagined themselves crossing into other realms. These figures hint at the earliest roots of religion and spirituality, the idea that some people could travel beyond the ordinary and return with wisdom. In their painted forms, we see humanity's first attempts to capture the sacred roles within their communities. Ancient people may have used music in ritual. Music, like art, seems inseparable from the human spirit, and its roots stretch deep into the Stone Age. Bone flutes, drums made from stretched hides, and rattles of shells or seeds may have been used in ritual gatherings. Music could unify groups, turning scattered individuals into a community that moved, clapped, or sang together. In ritual, sound could guide trance states, echo through caves, or call upon unseen powers. Imagine firelit ceremonies where voices rose in rhythm, echoing off stone walls as carvings of animals watched in silence. Music did not need written notes to carry meaning. It could express joy, fear, longing, or reverence in ways words never could. The presence of instruments alongside ritual sites suggests that music was woven into ceremony from the very beginning. To create music in the Stone Age was to connect with each other, with nature, and perhaps with the divine. Flute songs could have echoed in painted caves. Some of the earliest flutes discovered were carved from bird bones more than 30,000 years ago. These delicate instruments have carefully drilled holes, allowing players to produce multiple notes. In the hands of Stone Age musicians, they could create haunting melodies. Imagine standing in a dark cave, fire flickering against painted walls as the sound of flutes fills the air. The cave itself would have acted as an amplifier, echoing notes through chambers and passages. The music, combined with art and ritual, must have created powerful, unforgettable experiences. These songs were not recorded, but the instruments remain, silent, until played again by modern hands. When researchers reproduce them, the sound is eerie and beautiful, a reminder that the impulse to make music has always been with us. Long before orchestras or choirs, the first flute songs rose in painted caves, carried into eternity by stone and bone. Children likely learned by watching toolmakers. In the Stone Age, there were no schools or textbooks. Children learned by watching, listening, and imitating. Archaeological sites reveal piles of poorly made stone flakes alongside expert tools, suggesting that children practiced napping under the guidance of elders. These mistakes are priceless clues, showing how skills were passed down. Children may have gathered around while parents shaped blades, learning the angles, the strikes, the feel of stone splitting in the hand. They learned to sew by watching hides stitched, to hunt by trailing older hunters, to gather by exploring with families. Learning was immersive, woven into daily life. This process ensured that knowledge did not die with one generation but flowed continuously across time. Every child's clumsy first flake was part of a tradition stretching back millennia, a quiet apprenticeship that shaped survival and innovation in the ancient world. Skills were passed down over generations. The Stone Age was an era of continuity, where skills were preserved not by writing, but by practice and teaching. Tool-making traditions lasted tens of thousands of years, passed from hand to hand across generations. A particular style of blade or spear point could define a culture, spreading as people taught and learned. The persistence of these traditions shows the strength of oral knowledge, memory, and demonstration. In every hearth circle, children absorbed skills from parents and grandparents, ensuring survival. Some techniques, like the levelway method of shaping flakes, required remarkable precision and planning, yet they were preserved across centuries. This continuity speaks to human patience and shared effort. In a world without books, people themselves were the libraries, carrying knowledge in their hands and minds. Skills lived on in muscle memory, preserved in each strike of stone and each stitch of hide. Stone tool styles can identify entire cultures. Archaeologists can often recognize entire cultures by the style of their stone tools. Distinct shapes, techniques, and preferences mark groups across time and space. A hand axe from Africa, a microlith from Europe, or an obsidian blade from the Near East speaks of the people who made it. These styles were not random but taught, repeated, and perfected, becoming cultural signatures. The presence of a particular tool style in a new region often reveals migration, trade, or contact between groups. For example, the Clovis points of North America are instantly recognizable, spread across the continent in just a few centuries. Tools were as much about identity as utility, reflecting choices passed down across generations. To hold a stone blade is to glimpse not only an individual craftsman, but an entire culture's tradition, carried in shape, skill, and memory through the ages. Distinct traditions spread across continents. The Stone Age was not a uniform period. Different regions developed their own tool traditions, art styles, and survival strategies. These traditions spread across vast areas carried by migration, trade, or imitation. A flint knapping method from one valley could appear hundreds of miles away, evidence of ideas traveling with people. This shows that even without writing, humans shared knowledge widely. Some traditions endured for millennia, unchanged, while others evolved rapidly as groups adapted to new environments. The spread of traditions also reveals networks of contact, paths where stories, tools, and innovations flowed. Far from isolated, Stone Age cultures were connected, exchanging ideas across mountains, rivers, and deserts. Distinct traditions remind us that diversity and exchange have always been part of humanity's story, shaping not only survival, but the rich variety of expression that defines us as a species. The levelware technique produced predictable flakes. One of the most sophisticated stoneworking methods of the Stone Age was the levelware technique. Instead of striking stone randomly, toolmakers prepared a core with careful shaping, then struck it to remove a flake of a predetermined size and shape. This required foresight, planning, and precise control. The result was flakes that could be sharper, longer, and more uniform than those produced by simpler methods. The technique was used by Neanderthals, as well as early modern humans, showing advanced intelligence across species. Mastery of levelware knapping transformed toolkits, allowing more effective hunting and processing of food. It also reflects a leap in abstract thought, the ability to imagine a desired outcome and work backward to achieve it. To watch such a toolmaker at work would have been like seeing an artist or engineer in motion, transforming rough stone into finely crafted survival instruments. Microliths became the building blocks of composite tools. As the Stone Age advanced, people began making microliths, tiny, razor-sharp blades only a few centimeters long. On their own, they were too small for heavy tasks, but they were revolutionary when combined. Microliths could be set into wooden shafts with resin and sinew, creating arrows, spears, or cutting tools with replaceable edges. This modular approach meant that broken parts could be replaced easily, and weapons could be customized for different uses. Microliths also allowed lighter, more efficient hunting gear, transforming the way people pursued game. The innovation reflects not only skill but systems thinking, seeing how small parts could form a greater whole. Composite tools built from microliths spread widely, appearing in cultures across Europe, Africa, and Asia. These tiny shards of stone carried enormous power, marking a step toward the complex technologies that would one day define human ingenuity. Stone blades could be longer than a human hand. Not all Stone Age blades were small. Some stone blades produced in the Upper Paleolithic were astonishingly long, more than 20 centimeters, longer than a human hand. Creating such blades required skillful preparation of large flint cores and precise control of striking angles. These long blades could be used directly as knives or reshaped into smaller tools, providing great efficiency. Their size also made them symbols of craftsmanship, demonstrating the maker's expertise. To produce such a blade was to show mastery over material and technique, pushing stone to its limits. Holding one feels almost modern in its sharpness and elegance, challenging our assumptions about primitive technology. These long blades remind us that the Stone Age was not crude or clumsy, but filled with artisans who could coax extraordinary precision and beauty from stone, creating tools that rival the sharpness of steel knives thousands of years before metalworking. Obsidian blades can be sharper than modern steel. Among the most extraordinary tools of the Stone Age were obsidian blades. Obsidian, volcanic glass, fractures at the molecular level, producing edges so sharp they can rival or even exceed modern surgical steel. Some studies have shown obsidian blades cutting with edges only a few molecules thick, far sharper than any metal knife. For Stone Age people, obsidian was a prized resource, traded across vast distances. To hold an obsidian blade was to possess one of the finest tools in the world. These blades could slice hide, meat, and plant fibers with ease, transforming survival tasks. Obsidian's sharpness also carried symbolic weight, its glossy black surface gleaming like polished gemstone. Even today, some surgeons use obsidian scalpels for microsurgery, connecting modern medicine with Stone Age ingenuity. These blades prove that the genius of tool-making reached extraordinary heights long before the arrival of bronze or iron. Some stone tools were polished to a mirror-like finish. While many stone tools were flaked and sharp-edged, others were ground and polished until they gleamed like mirrors. Polished stone axes, found in the later Neolithic period, were smoothed with hours of grinding against abrasive surfaces. This labor produced tools not only stronger and sharper, but also strikingly beautiful. Their surfaces reflect light, shining as though made from crystal. Such tools were functional, used for cutting trees or shaping wood, but many were also buried in graves or offered in rituals, suggesting symbolic importance. The care invested in polishing reveals that these tools were more than practical objects. They were expressions of identity, prestige, or spirituality. To create such a tool required patience and vision, turning rough stone into something sleek and shining. These mirror-like axes remind us that even in the Stone Age, beauty and utility were intertwined in human craftsmanship. Grinding stones transformed plant foods. Before farming, people already experimented with grinding plant foods using heavy stones. Grinding stones found at archaeological sites bear the smooth, worn surfaces of repeated use, where seeds, nuts, and roots were crushed into flour or paste. This innovation transformed diets, making tough grains digestible and unlocking new sources of nutrition. Ground seeds could be cooked into porridges or flatbreads, precursors of agriculture's later staples. The labor was intensive, hours of grinding for modest yields, but it allowed communities to survive in lean seasons and expand their food sources beyond hunting. The worn hollows of grinding stones, polished by countless repetitions, are silent testaments to patience and persistence. They mark the first steps toward agriculture, where plants were no longer just gathered but processed with care. These stones show that long before fields were sown, the foundations of farming were already being laid in grinding rhythm. People experimented with plant domestication before farming. Long before organized agriculture, Stone Age people were already experimenting with plants. Archaeological evidence shows that wild cereals and legumes were selectively gathered, replanted, and even encouraged to grow in favorable patches. Some groups learned that seeds dropped near camps sprouted again, inspiring the idea of cultivation. These experiments blurred the line between foraging and farming, setting the stage for agriculture. They reveal curiosity and observation, noticing which plants grew best, which seasons brought abundance, and how soil and water shaped success. Over generations, these small acts of tending became deliberate efforts, leading to the domestication of wheat, barley, and lentils. This experimentation was not sudden, but gradual, 1,000 small discoveries woven into daily life. Farming did not begin with a single field. It began with countless moments of attention, as people realized they could shape nature just as surely as they shaped stone. Wild cereals were gathered for thousands of years. Before farming, wild cereals like einkorn, barley, and millet were staples for foragers across the ancient Near East and beyond. grinding stones dating back more than 20,000 years bear traces of these plants, proving that people harvested them long before cultivation. Gathering wild cereals was hard work, bending, cutting, threshing, and grinding with simple tools. But the reward was rich. Grains could be stored, cooked, and carried, offering energy long after a hunt ended. Some of the earliest breads may have been baked from such grains, cooked as flapcakes on hop stones. This long tradition shows that agriculture did not suddenly appear, but grew from deep experience. People knew the cycles of plants, the best places to find them, and the patience needed to process them. The fields of the first farmers were born from thousands of years of gathering wild grasses under the open sky. Goats and sheep were among the first herded animals. When farming took root, animals became as important as plants. Goats and sheep were among the first species domesticated, their herding beginning more than 10,000 years ago. Both were perfectly suited to human needs, hardy, adaptable, and providers of milk, meat, hides, and wool. Archaeological sites show pens and corrals where wild herds were gradually brought under control. Over generations, people selected animals that were calmer and easier to manage, slowly shaping them into domesticated breeds. Herding transformed human life, offering reliable food and material, and tying communities more firmly to the land. To keep goats and sheep was to claim security, a steady source of sustenance that freed people from the uncertainties of pure hunting. These early herds were living tools, carried from valley to valley, following people wherever they went. They were the first companions in humanity's long partnership with animals. Cattle domestication began in the Neolithic. The domestication of cattle marked another milestone of the Neolithic. Descended from massive wild aurochs, early cattle were powerful animals, valued for their meat, milk, hides, and eventually their strength as draft animals. Domestication began more than 8,000 years ago in the Near East, where people learned to manage herds, breed selectively, and protect them from predators. The shift to cattle herding was transformative. Herds became mobile wealth, sources of food that could walk alongside communities as they migrated or settled. Cattle also carried symbolic weight, appearing in rituals and burials, their strength and size inspiring reverence. To tame such a large animal was a remarkable achievement, a blend of patience, risk, and ingenuity. These herds expanded the possibilities of survival, fueling population growth and settlement. The story of cattle domestication is the story of humanity's deepening relationship with nature, transforming wild strength into trusted partnership. Permanent villages emerged with farming. As farming spread, people no longer needed to follow herds or seasonal migrations. For the first time in history, permanent villages appeared. These settlements, some dating back over 10,000 years, consisted of clusters of houses built from stone, mud, or timber. Archaeologists have uncovered villages with courtyards, storage pits, and communal spaces, revealing new rhythms of life. Farming allowed larger populations to gather, and permanence encouraged new crafts: pottery, weaving, and tool specialization. Villages also became centers of culture, where traditions deepened and identities strengthened. But with permanence came challenges, disputes over land, the spread of disease, and the need for cooperation. Yet the advantages outweighed the risks, and the village became humanity's new home. These settlements were the seeds of towns, cities, and civilizations, rooted in the soil tilled by Stone Age farmers. The first villages were small, but their legacy shaped the entire future of humanity. Mud brick houses appeared in the Stone Age. Among the earliest permanent dwellings were mud brick houses, built by mixing clay, straw, and water into bricks that dried hard in the sun. These structures, some more than 9,000 years old, have been found in ancient villages across the Near East. Mud brick houses were durable, yet simple to build, their walls insulating against both heat and cold. Floors were sometimes plastered, and hearths installed for cooking. Roofs, made of timber and reeds, provided additional space for storage or even sleeping. These houses marked a profound shift, not temporary shelters of hide or bone, but stable homes meant to last years, even decades. To build with mud brick was to declare permanence, to root oneself in a place and invest in its future. Standing among the ruins of these ancient houses, one can still see the outlines of humanity's first true neighborhoods, built of earth and ambition. The first plastered floors date back to ancient Jericho. In the ancient settlement of Jericho, archaeologists uncovered houses with floors coated in thick plaster, some of the earliest known in the world. These smooth, gleaming surfaces were made from lime plaster, created by heating limestone to incredible temperatures and mixing it with water. The effort required to make such plaster was immense, involving fire, labor, and planning. Yet the result was striking: clean, durable floors that could be repaired and resurfaced as needed. These floors were not just functional but symbolic, representing care and investment in homes. Some even showed traces of pigment, suggesting they were decorated or colored. Plastered floors at Jericho reveal how far Stone Age people had come, from living in caves or huts to crafting engineered environments. They transformed houses into true living spaces, durable and orderly, proof of communities growing more sophisticated and rooted with every generation. Some villages had defensive walls long before cities. Jericho holds another surprise: massive stone walls built around the village more than 9,000 years ago. These are among the earliest defensive structures in human history, long before the rise of true cities. The walls, several meters high, were built with stone and mud brick, possibly to protect against floods or raiding groups. A stone tower attached to the wall hints at surveillance or ceremonial use. These defenses show that Stone Age communities were already thinking collectively, planning large-scale projects that required cooperation and leadership. They also reveal that danger was present, whether from rival groups, wild animals, or natural forces. Building such walls marks a turning point, where communities began to protect not just people but also fields, herds, and stores of food. These early fortifications foreshadowed the great walled cities of later civilizations, but their roots lie in Stone Age ingenuity and caution. The earliest pottery came before metalworking. Pottery is one of humanity's most enduring technologies, and its origins stretch back to the Stone Age, long before the use of metals. The earliest pots date to more than 16,000 years ago in East Asia, where people shaped clay vessels and hardened them in fire. These simple but revolutionary containers transformed daily life. They allowed water to be stored, food to be cooked more efficiently, and grains to be preserved. Unlike baskets or skins, pottery was durable, able to last for years if carefully used. Decorating pots with patterns soon followed, turning utility into art. Pottery also carried social meaning, with designs reflecting identity or tradition. Its invention marks a profound step, enabling storage and cooking that supported larger communities. Long before bronze or iron, it was clay that reshaped human life, humble earth transformed into vessels of survival and culture. Fired clay was used for storage jars and cooking pots. Once people learned to harden clay in fire, they began crafting jars, bowls, and cooking pots. These vessels were thicker and sturdier than early pottery, able to store large amounts of grain or liquid. Cooking pots allowed food to be boiled, softening tough roots and grains, expanding diets, and improving nutrition. Storage jars made it possible to keep surplus food for future seasons, protecting communities against famine. Some jars were so large they remained stationary, becoming central features of houses or communal spaces. The durability of fired clay also made it a perfect material for passing down traditions. Fragments of decorated pottery survive even when wood or hide has long vanished. Each shard tells a story of meals cooked, food preserved, and families nourished. Fired clay was not just a material, it was a revolution, giving human communities greater control over time, hunger, and survival. People decorated pottery with patterns and paint. Even the earliest pottery was rarely plain. People scratched lines, pressed chord patterns, or painted designs into their vessels. These decorations transformed pots into objects of identity and pride. Patterns might have signified ownership, community, or symbolic meaning, while painted motifs often reflected nature, animals, plants, or abstract designs. Some pots bear repeating geometric shapes, possibly linked to rituals or cosmology. Decorating pottery was more than aesthetic. It turned vessels into carriers of culture. Each design reflected the hand of its maker and the traditions of a group, allowing archaeologists today to trace styles across regions and centuries. Pottery, therefore, was both practical and expressive, a way to hold food and ideas at the same time. The act of decorating shows that beauty was as important as survival, proving that even the simplest vessel could hold both nourishment and meaning. Clay figurines were sometimes deliberately broken. Among the most mysterious Stone Age artifacts are clay figurines, small human or animal shapes, often fired in hearths. Many of these figurines show signs of deliberate breaking, sometimes immediately after being made. This has led archaeologists to believe they played a role in ritual. Perhaps they were offerings, meant to be created and destroyed as symbolic acts. Some may have represented fertility, ancestors, or spirits, their breaking part of ceremonies tied to renewal or protection. The act of destruction gave meaning, just as much as creation. Figurines also reveal early experimentation with clay, laying the foundation for pottery. Their fragile remains, scattered in ancient settlements, are haunting glimpses of rituals we cannot fully understand. To shape a figure from earth, then break it in firelight, was to engage in symbolic dialogue with the world, an early expression of belief and imagination. Early farmers built megalithic tombs. As farming spread, communities began building monumental tombs from massive stones, known as megaliths. These structures, dating back more than 6,000 years, were feats of engineering, requiring the movement of multi-ton slabs without wheels or metal tools. Megalithic tombs served as burial chambers for entire communities, marking places of memory and identity. They were often covered with earth to form mounds, blending architecture with landscape. The effort to build such tombs reflects a strong sense of ancestry and continuity, a desire to honor the dead and anchor the living to the land. Some tombs remained in use for centuries, receiving generation after generation of burials. Standing before these monuments, one feels the weight of collective effort and devotion. They remind us that even in the Stone Age, people built not only for survival, but for remembrance, creating structures meant to outlast lifetimes. Passage graves were oriented to the sun. Many megalithic tombs were built with astonishing precision, their passageways aligned to the rising or setting sun at solstices or equinoxes. At Newgrange in Ireland, for example, sunlight pierces the narrow passage on the winter solstice, flooding the inner chamber with light. This alignment shows deep astronomical knowledge and symbolic intent, linking death with cycles of the sun. Such precision required years of observation and careful planning. These alignments may have symbolized rebirth, renewal, or the connection between ancestors and cosmic order. To stand inside a tomb as the sun rises and illuminates stone carvings is to witness a fusion of architecture, ritual, and astronomy. These monuments prove that Stone Age people were not only builders but astronomers, weaving the heavens into their very graves. The passage of light through stone remains one of the most awe-inspiring legacies of prehistoric imagination. Stone circles may have aligned with solstices. Beyond tombs, people also raised great circles of standing stones, some aligned with solstices or other celestial events. Stonehenge in England is the most famous, but stone circles exist across Europe and beyond. These rings may have served as ritual spaces, calendars, or gathering places where communities came together to mark the rhythms of the year. Aligning massive stones with astronomical events required knowledge, patience, and collective effort. The stones themselves became markers of time, guiding planting, harvesting, or ritual. To gather in a circle of towering stones as the sun rose or set at a precise point must have been profoundly moving. These monuments reveal how deeply the cycles of the heavens were woven into human life. Long before written calendars, stone circles anchored time itself in the earth, creating sacred landscapes where sky and stone met. Menhirs were raised as standing monuments. Scattered across Europe, Africa, and Asia are menhirs, single standing stones erected by Stone Age people. Some stand alone, others in rows or clusters, towering above the landscape. The effort to quarry, move, and raise these stones was immense, yet their purpose remains mysterious. They may have marked territory, commemorated ancestors, or served as ritual markers aligned with the sun or stars. Some are carved with symbols, while others stand plain and silent, their meaning lost to time. What is clear is their power. To walk among them is to feel the presence of intention, of human will etched into stone. Menhirs represent some of the earliest large-scale monuments, turning the landscape into a canvas of memory and meaning. Their enduring presence shows that Stone Age people sought permanence, creating markers that still stand millennia later, long after their builders have vanished. Ancient roads connected villages and monuments. Archaeologists have discovered traces of ancient pathways linking villages, tombs, and ritual sites. These early roads, often marked by ditches or stone alignments, show that movement and connection were central to Stone Age life. People traveled between settlements carrying goods, stories, and traditions. Roads also served symbolic functions, guiding processions during rituals or linking the living with the spaces of the dead. Some alignments stretch for miles, their straightness suggesting deliberate planning rather than chance trails. These paths remind us that Stone Age life was not isolated but interconnected, with communities bound by shared spaces and journeys. To walk an ancient road is to step where countless feet once passed, carrying burdens, offerings, or memories. These silent lines in the earth are among the earliest expressions of infrastructure, proof that people sought not only to survive, but to link their worlds together. Trade networks stretched across continents. The Stone Age world was vast, yet people connected across incredible distances. Obsidian from Anatolia appears in sites hundreds of miles away. Shells from distant coasts turn up deep inland. Amber, flint, and pigments traveled in hands and packs across mountains and plains. These objects prove that long before caravans or ships of empires, trade networks already spanned continents. Exchange was not only about survival goods, but about beauty, rarity, and meaning. Carrying an object from afar was to carry a story, a link to other communities. Trade created bonds of trust and shared culture, weaving together a scattered humanity. These networks reveal that Stone Age people were not isolated, but cosmopolitan in their own way, part of webs of exchange stretching far beyond their horizons. Each traded bead or blade was proof that curiosity and connection have always been central to our species. Stone Age innovations laid foundations for civilizations. The Stone Age was not a time of stagnation, but of constant innovation. Fire, clothing, shelter, tools, art, and agriculture all emerged in these long millennia. Each invention laid the groundwork for the civilizations that would follow. The ability to store food, track time, build monuments, and gather in communities were all first steps toward towns, writing, and states. The Stone Age was humanity's laboratory, where trial and error shaped the foundations of everything to come. Without its ingenuity, there would be no cities, no temples, no history as we know it. These innovations remind us that progress is cumulative. Each spark, each flake of stone, each seed planted pushed humanity forward. Far from primitive, the Stone Age was the age when everything began, when people carved the first steps on the path that still stretches into our future. The Age of Stone ended, but its inventions live on. The Stone Age eventually gave way to the Age of Metal, when bronze and iron transformed tools and weapons. But the inventions of the Stone Age never truly disappeared. Fire still warms our homes, clothing still shields us, and storytelling still binds us together. We still build, farm, trade, and decorate, following patterns set long ago. Even today, archaeologists uncover stone tools that are sharp, efficient, and elegant, reminding us of their enduring brilliance. The end of the Stone Age was not an end, but a transformation, with its discoveries carried forward into every chapter of history. The echoes of that age live in our daily lives, proof that its people were not so different from us. They too imagined, created, and dreamed, leaving behind inventions that remain part of what it means to be human. The Stone Age never truly ended. It lives on within us. And so, our journey through the Stone Age comes to a quiet close. We have walked beside the first tool makers who struck sparks from stone and lit fires in the dark. We have seen caves painted with the shapes of mammoths and lions, echoes of a world both beautiful and perilous. We have listened for the sound of flutes carved from bone, their notes drifting into the chambers of painted caverns. We have watched villages rise, harvests take root, and monuments of stone lifted toward the sky. The Stone Age was not only about survival. It was about imagination. The first beads strung on cords, the first songs played, the first seeds planted. Each was a beginning, each a spark that carried humanity forward. The people of that age may seem distant, but their hands shaped the world we still live in. The tools they invented, the stories they told, and the paths they carved became the foundations of everything that followed. As we leave this ancient world, let us remember the patience of those who ground seeds on stone, the courage of those who crossed seas in fragile boats, and the wonder of those who looked at the stars and imagined patterns in their dull, endless sweep. Their lives remind us that humanity's strength lies not only in survival, but in curiosity, creativity, and connection. If you have stayed with me this far, perhaps your eyes are already heavy, your breathing slower, your thoughts drifting like embers fading into ash. Let the weight of the day slip away as softly as footprints disappearing into ancient soil. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe, or simply share a thought in the comments below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, there is nothing more to do, and nowhere else you need to be. Rest easy, let your mind wander through painted caves and starlit fields, and allow yourself to drift into sleep, carried by the quiet echoes of the Stone Age. Let's end our journey here. Good night.